Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast. We're talking about the Tour of Spain, wrapping up the final third week, which, of course, is the final. I'm joined by Johan Bernil down there, and I guess you're in Madrid.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in Madrid,
good. Yeah. JB, the other JB over there in Austin, Texas. And George, the dog catcher, Hincapie.
Huh.
We started a little late. George's dog got out. I would get out, too, if I were your dog. Look like you've been running around. Are you okay?
I am. I'm all sweaty. I'm like flustered. I was trying to be nice and early and prepared this morning, and that all went out.
Well, what happened there? That's not like you.
Well, the damn dog dug a hole underneath the gate and got out. I don't know what she was thinking. She's got it pretty good here.
Yeah, it's got a good life.
And then I drove around the whole neighborhood for the last 45 minutes to an hour, asking people that are walking, "Where's the dog? Where's the dog?" And then the thing just walks back home. Comes inside like, "Hey, what's up?" Full of mud everywhere. I'm like, straight to the laundry room. I'm like, you're staying here. So anyway,
maybe we'll get a cameo later.
You make a good point. Where's that dog going to go in Greenville? That's nicer. Like the hotel, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to run all the way out there to Fiddlers, whatever it's called out there. What's that? Anyways. Today's show brought to you by Element. We talk about it all the time. This is our go-to hydration source. I've always been a sweater, not like a sweater that you would wear, but somebody just sweats their face off on any kind of exercise. Element is really the one solution that I've come up with that I think works the best for me. The whole team is on it as well. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium, no sugar, no gluten, no artificial BS. Check this out. Special offer for our listeners. Get a free sample pack. By the way, this is not available publicly, just through partners like THEMOVE. Sample pack gets you all the different flavors so you can figure out which one you dig the most. Dial in your hydration. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/THEMOVE and get your free gift with purchase. Again, drinklmnt.com/THEMOVE.
Guess what my new flavor is? Favorite flavor. Mango.
Tell us.
Mango chili. Have you had it?
Mango chili.
Sweet and spice for you.
Sounds like something you put in a cocktail.
I do. I actually do put that in a cocktail.
Today's show. Oh, hello. Whoa, Lance. Today's show also brought to you by HVMN. Another thing we talk about a lot here on this show. We know that this phenomenon or this fad, not even a fad, it's a reality of ketones being used, not just in the Peloton, but in so many other professional sports, also special ops around the world. Their new product, the Ketone IQ, is game changing. Tastes better, lower cost, and improved effectiveness. Pretty amazing. So here's the thing. Also, other thing about ketones and Ketone IQ is it has the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier for sustained energy, mental focus, and sharpness. That's how we keep rocking on this show. I got my my shots too. G, I think you said you got yours, right?
Yep, I got them. In fact, I might hit one right now. I'm so flustered. I need a little.
Yeah, I feel like you're a little off. Why don't you
Hold on a second, I'm gonna
get
one?
Yeah, we will wait for you. Go ahead and get your single shot. Slam that thing on the show. Anyways, head on over to hvmn.com. Use the promo code THEMOVE20. That gets you 20% off. And again, that's hvmn.com. Promo code THEMOVE20.
Look at these little beauties. We'll hit one of these right
there
now.
There it is. Go. You got to give some of that dog. Then it would really
I'm back.
realize how good its life is. I get free ketones. I'm not digging out. I'm not going on the fence ever again. I'm tempted to. JB and I were talking a little bit before the show. You know, of course, American football. We were talking about Remco, and Johan kept talking about how he's such a great athlete and how he was a great footballer and a great runner. Well, that confuses us, right? Because we view football as American football, which of course kicked off this weekend. But we won't go down that rabbit hole. What a dominating performance, and boy, I mean, I think he has finally shown himself in a 3-week Grand Tour.
And let's let Johan just gloat for a minute with a Belgian Grand Tour winner. Since when?
44 years, since 1978.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, incredible. 1977 was Freddie Martins won the Vuelta, and 13 stages in that same Vuelta. But in 1978 was Johan de Munt who won the Giro. And it's been 44 years since a Belgian won any Grand Tour.
Well, and when you think about that country and its history, primarily with, when it comes to 3-week Grand Tours, primarily with Eddie Merckx, that is a long time. But it also, I think, highlights what we were talking about on the pre-show about just how good that field is. Freddie Martin's winning 13 stages. That will just never. That is impossible. For the rest of time. Exactly. And it just shows you, and of course, you were on the roadside a couple of days ago, Johan. It shows you how deep these fields are now. That even winning 2 or 3 stages is virtually impossible. 13 stages, they ain't never going to happen again.
No, that's never going to happen. And it's true, Lance. I was, I went to see with my son the stage of Saturday, which was basically, supposed to be the real crucial stage where everybody was planning on attacking Remco and especially Movistar and Enric Mas, who was really showing really good form. It just never happened. He was completely in control. Never got in problems, and actually, I was really surprised to see when the riders passed. Like I was on 3 kilometers before the top of the second last climb, the hardest climb of the day, and I was really surprised to see the speed, the breakaway shortly after the group of favorites, single file, all single file, and also then there was a few guys 1-1-1-1-1, and then I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll have to wait for 40 minutes until I can get off the mountain, and basically 25 minutes from the first rider to the last rider, and everybody was passed. And this was 35 kilometers before the finish, the 4th climb of the day. The level of the peloton, we keep saying it, is amazing. It's very deep and everybody goes fast. Like if you're 3 minutes behind in a mountain stage, you could be like 30th or 40th nowadays. Before you could be top 10 when you were 3 minutes behind.
And we saw it in the time trials as well. Yeah. Right? It was 51, 52 kilometers an hour average gets you maybe top 30th.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, but when I'm kind of hearing you say, Johan, it's not just the highest level of talent exists from end to end. It's all elevated and condensed, right?
Yeah, it's really condensed. I mean, there's a lot of talent and everybody trains at their maximum, and and even the best riders keep improving year after year. I just got data from somebody who's really into researching the power of the guys, and this has nothing to do with the Vuelta, but I think it's a great example. Mathieu van der Poel is preparing for the World Championships, and he did a Kermes race, which he won last week. It was actually in my hometown in Izegem, and so this guy got the data of the performance of Mathieu van der Poel. So he did the 60-minute effort. He did his best effort ever together with Tour of Flanders during 1 hour, and the 120-minute effort was his second best ever. Second to Strade Bianchi of last year, where he was flying. So these guys keep improving all the time too. They're not that, and even if they're already mature, the fact that they train better and better and more, they keep getting better. And it's just a question of, if Van der Poel, for example, if now he hits his best numbers, he's not even sure he's going to win the Worlds. There's going to be guys who are up there, and most likely one of them will beat him. So it's a phenomenon throughout the peloton that they just keep improving, and it's impressive to see when you stand on the side of the road and you see these guys pass. It's unbelievable how fast they go up those mountains.
Not only that, but they're a lot like back in our day, we had people that were, obviously Lance was a bit of an all-arounder, but not really much of a sprint to him. These guys, look at Pogačar yesterday in Montreal. He's beaten Wout van Aert, one of the fastest sprinters in the world, in a sprint finish. It's not like they can do one thing now. They can do it all. And it just becomes more and more impressive to watch these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Montreal. There you see also, for example, Van Aert and Pogačar. They were both. I don't think they were at their best, because at some point in the race they were both in trouble, but they still finished first and second, right? So that the good guys are always a step in front.
Yeah, I think going back to what we were talking about with Roglic crashing and how good he was looking, just seeing how Remco didn't even really ever look at the limit on this last week. I think he, after the final rest day, he recovered extremely well. And it's hard to say if Roglic would have been able to do any damage with how good he was riding this whole week.
That's the thing, because now people say, Roglic fell out. I mean, personally, I think, Roglic would maybe have taken a little bit of time back, but the way he was riding, I don't think he would have lost any time, because the hardest climbs were over. It was all like 5, 6, 7% maximum. And he's really good at that. And so, now he wins his first Grand Tour. In Belgium, actually, it's strange. Remco is super popular, but there's a part of the people who are also very critical to him. For example, the one guy, the last Grand Tour winner, Johan de Munk, who won the Giro in '78. He must now be in his 70s, early 70s, I think. He was extremely critical. And not because he, I don't know if it matters to those guys or not to be the last Belgian to win a Grand Tour, but he was saying, okay, it's fine. He wins the Vuelta, but he's going to have to ride differently if he wants to win the Tour de France. He has no acceleration. I've never seen him attack. I said, I've never seen Indurain attack in the hills. He won 5 in a row. So it's there's still a lot of
and I'd say his acceleration was pretty impressive. I mean,
what crawled up that guy's ass and died. I mean, this is there's no. Come on, that's the thing. I get it. That the kid speaks his mind. He. I think that the country's cycling fans are probably a little split between Remco and Wout van Aert. We know that relationship is frosty at best, but to have some old fart,
I know,
sitting in his garden criticizing that performance, I don't know what he watched.
Johan, Remco said something the other day, which I found kind of interesting, and perhaps why maybe he gets some of this criticism was, okay, we saw him in the Giro. He was trying for the overall, was doing, wasting a lot of energy for these bonus sprints against Bernal. But he did say in this Vuelta that this was the first Grand Tour that he started healthy. What did he mean? What did he mean by that?
Well, I mean, last year in the Giro, I think personally he shouldn't have been at the start, because let's not forget the year before he had this terrible crash, in Lombardy, had a lot of complications, had a really long rehab, and the Giro was his first race back. I think that's a mistake. That was a mistake. I mean, his team probably also sees that was a mistake. So he was definitely not prepared at all. And I think that his ambition and his motivation took, the height over really his ability and his condition. This was completely different. I mean, we all knew he was in great shape, because the way he won San Sebastian was impressive. And then again, it's always the same. Then people say, okay, he was amazing, but it's too early. It's too early. It's 3 weeks before the Vuelta, and it's too early. Well, then the guy really, I mean, he was really, really good in the last week. I was really impressed by that, and by his team, actually, because, they lost 2 riders quite early, like before half race. And so they did it with 6 riders, and they really rose to the occasion, and were there whenever he needed them. And whenever he was isolated, there were not that many guys left either. And so they also could really, they really played well with the other battles that were going on, for battle for 3rd place, battle for 5th place, battle for 10th place even, in the last stage, Bora was pulling to defend the 10th place of Jay Hindley. I mean, believe it or not.
No, but we talked about, I mean, that becomes these, a team comes in and says, we want to win a stage. We want to have one guy on the top 10, maybe Team GC. I mean, these things are, we weren't used to, we couldn't get our minds around doing anything for 10th place, but there are teams that really care about that, and they will, they'll support you.
And Remco's goal going in was a stage win and top 10, by the way.
Well, I mean, I think they really wanted to play it down. That's what his dad said. But Remco's ambition inside was to win the Vuelta. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy like that, he has that winner's mindset, and he wanted to win.
While we're talking about Remco and Grand Tours, we've already alluded on the last show, like the hype for Tour de France next year. All these people facing off. However, Lefevre has said that it will be a Giro focus for Remco. What do you know about that, Johan?
He didn't really say that he was not going to do the Tour. He said, if it's up to me, Remco's not going to the Tour next year. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to the Tour. I think it's a decision of a commission. And first thing I think is the rider himself, right? The trainer, the whole staff around it, because this is not just, okay, I want to be good in the Tour, I'm going. This is a project. This is a whole season that has to be scheduled around it. Personally, I think for a rider like Remco and the way he rides in the hills, in the mountains, I personally think that the course of the Tour is the best for him, because the Tour has long climbs and typically not really steep climbs. The Giro has steep climbs. Normally the Vuelta has steep climbs. This year a little bit less, but the Tour is, you have the Pyrenees and the Alps, and that's, it's typically not as steep as the Dolomites, for example. So I think that would suit him better. Now we have to see what the team wants to do. I personally think. Well,
I'm sorry, we have to also see what the course is that gets revealed next month.
Yeah, and also, I'm not necessarily against Remco doing the Giro first, because I think that this team needs to build around Remco a little bit more, hiring some other, like some stronger guys still, and they don't have that for next year. They didn't make that many changes for next year, so I think the Giro would definitely be the next step. And then in 2 years, the Tour de France. I think that would be the logical thing. But
but as we all know, Patrick Lefevre is a sly fox, and he's it doesn't benefit him to make a bold statement about Remco on the Tour de France today. We haven't seen the course. We haven't. I mean, he plays the media. Perfectly.
Yeah.
So
there's nobody better than him to do that.
Agreed.
And how about
if his lips are moving, he's probably bullshitting you.
Let's let this 22-year-old kid enjoy his first Grand Tour win, first in Belgium for a long time. I mean, for me, it's like, you know what, just enjoy right now. I mean, he may or may not go to the Worlds. He probably will, but what an incredible achievement.
He's not even, George, that's the thing. Like now, and especially with the Worlds being in Australia, he's not even going home. He has to go, because he does the time trial. He does the time trial, which is, before the road race. So he needs to go straight there to, with the time zones and everything. And I think, I don't know who's going to beat him in the time trial in the World Championships. Probably he's most likely going to be world champion time trial.
Wow.
And then we'll see, how the duo of Van Aert and Remco are going to ride together,
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's true.
We're going to get into some of the other incredible performances in the final week. Plus, I want to talk a little bit about your son having a really cool meeting there in Madrid. But before we get to that, today's show also brought to you by Athletic Greens. I started down this journey with Athletic Greens months and months and months ago. It's been a complete game changer for me because, I'm not great when it comes to those fruits and veggies and all that stuff. But I got a little hack. It's called AG1. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Starts my day off just right, all for less than $3 a day. Here's the deal. Make it easy. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs, which right here, always by my side. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/themove. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/themove. Last one of the day. Also, today's show brought to you by man, I just looked over here at my notes. Whoops. That shows you how well I slept on my Helix mattress. I went to bed at like 8:30. After the Dallas Cowboys just started to get their ass kicked. That's by the GOAT, Tom Brady, which was any surprise. No. I just went to sleep. Like, I'm going to bed. We're talking about American football. Johan. Anyways, my Helix mattress.
So this has nothing to do with the Drink Bitch Invitational Golf Tournament you did that you went to bed at 8:30, or has completely
I
unrelated.
was trying not to talk too much about that. It was had a special guest this year for the DBI. Certain Blake Griffin showed up, which was interesting.
Wow,
What
awesome.
a hoot that guy is. Anyways, my mattress it's the best mattress I've ever slept on. Don't take it from me or us. Wired Magazine and GQ Magazine also named it best mattress of the year. Here's what they do. You fill out a 2-minute sleep quiz. You talk about your sleep, your characteristics, what your sleep is currently like, and they completely customize the mattress and drop ship it to your front door. I have never had sleep like this. G's got it. We all have it. What are we talking about? Head on over to helixsleep.com/themove. Take the 2-minute sleep quiz, fully customized mattress. Special offer right now, up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows. That's helixsleep.com/themove. So what else popped out? Johan, in our notes, you obviously Carapaz, which I said it last week. I got to give it to the guy. Like, if you're leaving the team and allegedly going, we'll see what happens with this relegation watch, you're going somewhere else. You just don't have to. I really respect that. I mean, that's
I think, for him, starting being one of the favorites, I think, he also wanted to go for GC. Otherwise he wouldn't be there. And then, basically turning it around after the first week and going for those stage wins. And, every time he was in a breakaway, of course, he was the favorite. And we all know how difficult it is when you're in a big breakaway, a big group, being the favorite. It's super difficult to win. And I mean, doing that 3 times, that's incredible. I mean, the way he finished on Saturday, and the 3 times was really, it was a thriller until the end. Every time it was with a few seconds. The guy's a warrior, and I mean, hats off to him to switch his motivation and go for stage wins, and winning 3 stages it's very difficult.
Right. Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Johan. I mean, there were thrillers. There's not many times where you win on mountain stage from a breakaway where the GC guys are within 100 meters of you. They've seen you. They can almost bite you. But he was able to hold them off all at least those 2 times, which was pretty incredible to watch and exciting to watch. And
for you, Lance, you get to see arguably the best climber in polka dot. We're seeing a shift with that jersey, are we not?
Hey, well, that's a bit of a shame that we lost Jay Vine to a crash.
Yeah,
never want to see that happen. But obviously, Carapaz was getting better and better throughout the Vuelta.
Yeah, and also, I mean, what I also noticed is like Carapaz is from Ecuador, but the Colombians, for example, the Latin Americans, they were nowhere at the beginning. They were like all disappointment after disappointment. And finally they turned it around and they won 5 stages. They won 5 stages. They won the mountains jersey. They had 2 guys in the top 10. They really turned it around. So, because typically the Colombians were always dominant in the Vuelta the last few years. And this year, I mean, even yesterday, that was a really surprise victory. But the lead out guy who wins the sprint and his leader Ackermann not being able to pass him, that was quite special. I think. I mean, this guy. That was such a special day, I think, because he doesn't have a contract for next year, and one of the big bosses of UAE was there. So I think that in the bus, in the euphoria of the moment, they'll probably get the promise of, okay, you stay on board.
Yeah, which he was clearly surprised when he came across the line, was not expecting to hold him off. But also shout out to Rigoberto Urán, 17-year veteran, pulling off that stage, which was unfortunate to see Lawson Craddock getting caught right before the line, fellow Texan Lance. I mean, he rode an amazing Vuelta. Would have loved to have seen him win the stage, but it was exciting to see Rigo win that stage as well.
Yeah, also the 10th time in the top 10 in his career of a Grand Tour of Urán.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
We'd also be remiss if we didn't talk about Primož Roglic, who just has, I don't know what we call this, bad luck or just bad decision making. The crash was horrible. Obviously, sent him home the next day. But you look at, like, what are we? Like, what's the why? Like, why? It's just befuddling to because those efforts take a lot out of you. I mean, those are real efforts, and you're going to get.
It is recurring though. He he does crash. I was a bit. I mean, let's not forget last year he was in the red jersey. He attacked and he went down by himself. I think he's a bit. I mean, he's super frustrated because I was really surprised to read that statement from him, saying that this cannot go on. That his crash was provoked by another rider. In this case, Fred Wright. I don't think I agree with that. I've seen the pictures and the images, and Roglic was behind Fred Wright when he fell. So it's not. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. It's not typical Roglic to make a statement like that. And I was a bit surprised also that Jumbo-Visma, or at least the PR department, allowed that kind of, because they backed it up and they went even deeper. Anyway. We don't know probably a lot of stuff that's going on within the peloton. So I think it was a big frustration, but it's a fact that I think his season is over. He's probably not going to race again. And yeah, I mean, it's once again, I mean, Tour, he crashed out where I think he had more of a reason to complain because it was because of one of those hay bales in the stage, the cobblestones. He hit that hay bale, which was in the middle of the road. But yeah, I mean, the guy is really, really unlucky in Grand Tours.
Does he stay there? Does he stay at Jumbo-Visma?
I think so. I think he's going to stay there. Yeah, yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on the 3K rule incident that we saw where Remco had a flat? I thought it was always reserved for crashes, and there was some controversy with it too. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, my take is that they really played it well, Quick-Step and Remco, because if you read the rules, it says any mechanical incident within the 3 kilometers. Emphasis on within, right? So basically, what happens is if you have a slow flat, like I don't know if you say that like that, like a flat that kind of you feel it, but at 5 kilometers. You have to think of me. Okay, I have to get to the 3 kilometers. Basically, that's not legal because your incident is within 5 kilometers. But since you can't see, you can keep going. And then when you're within the 3 kilometers, you raise your hand. You can prove that you have a flat, and that's it. So I think that was really a smart decision. Because it was not normal. Also, he said, he said that he was in the front and then he kept losing positions in the corners, so he felt that his tire was going down. But that rule is there for everybody, and
it's very prominent in the minds of the GC riders. I don't remember exactly which year it was, but Lance and I think 3 or 4 of all of our same team, we crashed. And we were on the ground at the finish of a stage of the Tour de France, and we look up, and the 1K banner at that time was 1 kilometer rule was right above us. We're like, are we within this 1K or not? Fortunately, we were. But what are the chances of that happening?
Yeah, and you also see, like nowadays, you see trains of teams with GC riders. Their finish is at the 3 kilometer sign. Yeah. They bring them there, and then they drop them off, and then it's basically up to the leaders to stay in the wheel of their co-rivals.
Right, which is the way it should be. I mean, sprinters shouldn't be
exactly
quacking before climbs, and climbers shouldn't be quacking before sprints. Like, those are kind of 2 different races.
Mm-hmm. Another exceptional tour was for Mads Pedersen. And Johan has a great story that includes his son that I think you'll enjoy.
Yeah. So, we went on Saturday to see the race. And of course, my son has been watching it on TV, and, he's 13 years old. He's really into cycling. So he sees all these guys. And of course, the guys with the leaders jerseys are really catching his attention. And Pedersen is one of his favorite guys. So, after the race, I had some spare time, and so I passed to the hotel where Trek Segafredo was staying. I have a few ex friends, ex colleagues from there, and they were there. So I went to say hi, and I told my son, let's not bother the riders, because they all wearing the masks, and so basically they all, the bus arrived, they all came in. So we didn't really check out the riders. And when we left the hotel, we come on the parking, and Mats Pedersen is sitting there in the back of the car talking to the Danish press, and he was talking about his new green bike he was going to use on the Madrid stage. And so my son was like in shock, it was like starstruck, really like paralyzed. So I said to Mats, I said, hey, would you mind taking a picture with my son? He's a big fan of yours. He said, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, no problem. So my son goes next to him, take the picture. And Mats says, hey, wait a second, I have something for you. So he opens his bag and takes out his green jersey from the race and gives it to my son, Christian.
Wow.
And that was unbelievable. I mean, he's been talking about it nonstop. He was close to crying. And, of course, yesterday he went out on his bike through the village with his green jersey on. And that was amazing moment for him and for me to see the happiness on his face. And that was incredible. So, thank you, Mats Pedersen. I already wrote him a message, but on this podcast also, I want to say thank you for your generosity cool. and for making my son the happiest kid in the world on Saturday.
Wow. Awesome. And then one last thing, I know you got to go, Johan. So the overall youth of this podium, you have a 22-year-old winner, 27-year-old second place, 19-year-old in third. I guess we just better get used to it. Like
they keep coming. It keeps
coming. And we sort of sit here and be like, golly gee. But I think it's time we just say, okay, maybe this is now a young man's game.
Yeah, we keep thinking the leaders are set for the next 5 years, and it just gets us every year. This is good for us and good for spectators.
Sets up for a good battle. They keep getting younger and younger. I mean, look, a 19-year-old Spanish kid just won the U.S. Open as well. So these young guys are just popping up, and I think it's going to be a sign of the future.
Just when Nadal won his first big tournament.
Yep.
At the same time, in this world, I think that was also. I mean, we can conclude with that. Very special moment also. The retiring of two really big champions, Alejandro Valverde, 42 years old. He won his first stage in the Vuelta in 2003. Won the Vuelta in 2009, and world champion and podium in all the Grand Tours and stuff, and many other races, and also Vincenzo Nibali. So they won the Tour, won the Giro twice, won the Vuelta. So both of those guys retired, and they did a really nice lap of honor before the last stage to both of them. I think the funny thing is that most likely Evenepoel and Juan Ayuso, those two guys who were on the podium, they had posters in their rooms of those guys when they were at their top. When Valverde won the Tour. Won the Vuelta and Nibali won the Tour. These guys were like young kids, like my son, probably, So now they raced together with them and they actually beat them. And I think that was a special moment also. So two big champions are retiring from cycling.
Yep. All right. Well, nice wrap up. What are we doing next, JB? Are we doing the World Championships?
World Championships, yeah.
So George, myself, and Johan will be together as we were last year for the World Championships in Mallorca. So we'll be covering the Worlds from there. I'm hearing we may have some special guests as well. You never know. TBD, TBA, to be announced.
To be announced, exactly. To be announced.
Yeah. So anyways, looking forward to that. We'll see you guys for the Worlds coverage. Thanks for tuning in today. You guys have a good week.